The introduction of modern vessels like MV Mpungu on Lake Victoria is a big step towards cargo efficiency in Uganda. The Prime Minister says the vessel will strengthen the country's position as a regional hub with better market access.
The inauguration of the MV Mpungu, therefore, marks an important milestone for East Africa, advancing our trade and environmental priorities whilst strengthening regional ties.
Uganda is a landlocked country. It relies heavily on road transport to meet its import and export trade needs. Experts in transport and logistics argue that MV Mpungu comes at a time when there is an urgent need for alternative transport options due to high fuel prices and declining road conditions, among other issues.
It's always important to have multiple choices and multiple options. As we have seen in COVID, you can't be depending on one specific network, one specific trade line, one specific origin of cargo. So we need to have road, we need to have rail, we need to have water, we need to have multimodal, we need to have air transport, which will give customers options in terms of flexibility, in terms of price, in terms of speed.
MV Mpungu was built in Uganda at a cost of more than $25 million. Another $1 million has gone into training seamen and officers drawn from the local population. This year is MV Mpungu, a game changer for regional trade, offering businesses a faster, safer and greener alternative to road transport. This vessel can carry up to 21 fully loaded trucks, cutting the usual 3 to 4 day road journey down to just 18 hours, reducing costs, congestion, and carbon emissions. Green Road Group, which runs the ship, says MV Mpungu will make at least 2 regular trips each week, connecting Port Bell in Uganda with the port of Mwanza in Tanzania, with plans to open up new routes to the Kenyan shores.
As the MV Mpungu forms the foundation of an efficient logistics network across Lake Victoria, we are excited to create enduring value for our customers in Uganda and Tanzania, facilitating the seamless movement of cargo from origin to destination.
With operations now underway, the MV Mpungu is not just a freight vessel. It's a symbol of progress for regional trade. Michael Baleke, CGTN, Kampala, Uganda.
Earlier, I spoke to the Chief Investment and Project Development Officer at Infraco. That's the project development arm of the Private Infrastructure Development Group, which has spent the last 8 years getting this project off the ground and, metaphorically speaking, into the water. We explored how commercial risks in the project have been managed, but I started our conversation by exploring the potential size of the market for maritime freight transport across the lake.
Let's say it does 2 to 3 cruises a week. That's, let's say, 3,000 tons a week. 40 or 50 weeks, that's 150, three times, that's 150,000 tons. So, you know, we can pretty quickly capture a relatively significant part of the addressable market, but the market is a lot bigger.
Can you walk us through what those risk factors were? Because I mean, on paper, like you say, the opportunity is there, and governments clearly would have seen this, right, in the past, but they've not acted on saying, look, let's build out these maritime cargo lines across Lake Victoria. So why was this risky?
It's a merchant business. It's not a contracted business where you've got a secure offtake, and you know that when you commission, your revenues are guaranteed. So that's a huge risk. First of all, you have to build the infrastructure and then hope that the clients will come. And not a lot of people invest in infrastructure that's merchant. So that's the first one. The second one is actually getting the infrastructure built. There are no shipyards. There are no large shipyards on Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria is landlocked, obviously, and so to get a vessel of a world class vessel built that's thousands of tons, that's like 350 feet long. You need to find a good contractor, a very skilled contractor. And finding that contractor was just a huge amount of work. And we could have failed, actually. We could have failed. We almost failed because we tried to work with several contractors or people who build ships, as it were. And it's finally the one that we ended up working with that was, Mr. Right. But that could have failed. And if you don't have the right contractor, you're just not going to build the right infrastructure. And it's not going to be safe. It's not going to be efficient. So that was another massive risk.
Right. Let's build on that a bit, because I'm trying to understand the business model that's at work here. You've taken on an incredible amount of commercial off-taker risk here. We've built the infrastructure, you've gotten the shipping rights, and the assumption here is that, look, if the product is good, the market will eventually come. But from a legal perspective, are there any guarantees that you asked for from the governments in Tanzania and Uganda with respect to saying, look, we've taken all this risk, we need to have a payback period of, say, 10, 15, 20 years, however long it might be, to be able to essentially recoup our investment?
Well, this is a purely private sector driven project. It's not a PPP. It's not a concession. There is no exclusivity. I mean, we are fully licensed and permitted to operate, but we're basically purely merchant, purely private sector. But the reality is, we don't have any guarantees on the any kind of exclusivities, as it were, or any kind of special guarantees. What we have is a supportive government